Let me just make sure the sound. Let me just make sure the sound is good. Shalom, shalom. Okay, the sound worked. Turn this down a little. So shalom, shalom. This is a lesson just going into St. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 to 30. Something I was reading. Wanted to, put a lesson on the channel. I was at camp today, and brothers was getting in there, speaking about prophesying against, Esau and the things that's going on in the Drewski at camp. But, about leaving the brothers, and it made me think, like, let's get into a little in-depth lesson on what was Yahawashi actually talking about in St. Matthew, the 11th chapter, verse 28 to 30. And Lord willing, this is edifying and inspiring to the elect. But first and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit. Those that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching His word and believing in His word. Lord willing, as a whole, that you all continue in sound doctrine. And shalom to the Akwaf, the sisters of His faith and His truth. Lord willing, that you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And again, Lord willing, this edifying lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Lord willing, I don't take too much of, you guys' time. So, again, Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 to 29, we're going to deal with a few points in these verses. But let's just deal and let's read it. This is Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 to 30. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Now, let's deal with verse 28, where it says, come unto me, which this initiates in an invitation, right? Yahawashi is inviting us to come unto Him. Yahawashi was calling the weary, especially Israel, who was crushed under heavy religious burdens, man-made traditions, which we see the Pharisees. You was going off if you didn't wash your hands before you ate, creating other stumbling blocks for other believers, right? Because they were bringing in man-made traditions. Captivity, oppression, and sin, fear and guilt, and spiritual exhaustion. Okay? So now let's go back. Hold on, let me get this. Let's go to the Old Testament. Let's go to Isaiah 55 in verse 1 and 3. This Isaiah chapter 55, verse 1. Ho, every one that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that have no money, come ye buy and eat. Yeah, come, buy wine and milk without money, without price. Wherefore do ye spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfieth not? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. Incline your ears and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. And this is speaking about what you coming to buy is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Lord. Right? That wine, that milk, it's all free. This is the wisdom, knowledge of Yahawashi. In the NLT, verse 1, it says, Is anyone thirsty? Is anyone thirsty? Come and drink. Even if you have no money, come, take your choice of wine and milk. It's all free. Right? The wisdom, knowledge, understanding from Yahawashi is free. When we go back to Matthew, the 11th chapter, verse 28, it said, come unto me. The Lord is not asking us to bring no damn money, right? He wants you. He wants your mind. He wants your heart, your soul, mainly dedicated to him. So let me go back to Matthew real quick before we get this other precept to line with verse 28. When you go back to Matthew, the 11th chapter, in verse 28, now that we got all that information, Matthew 11:28, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, heavy burden, and I will give you rest. When we come into this knowledge, we have rest. Yes, in the later end, Yahawashi is trying to lead us to that eternal rest. But while we're still in this captivity, we rest in the will of Yahawashi. You're resting from sin. You're resting from the cares of this world. Yes, you still gonna have cares of the world, but the more you grow in knowledge, you know what you signed up for. You know what the heck is going on, right? Just like brothers were just speaking about this game. You know, we in Buffalo, and Buffalo just lost. You know, the mind frame of actually understanding you are in Rome all over again. You are in a Rome captivity where they push Rome sports on you. You know, and some of us, you know, Jake, you get your panties in a bunch that your team don't win, but you have your heart, your soul, your mind all connected to this game. And it should be the same attachment you should have to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahawashi. You should be fully attached, because he says, come unto me. Okay? So let me get this in St. John 7:37. It says, in the last days, that great day of the feast, Yahawashi stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. And when we read in Isaiah 55:1-3, come without price and receive life. That milk and honey is free. You get in the doctrine of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Lord, and it's free. And all these things are tools that we get to use on this side to help you live, right? To help you live. The Lord shows us how we're supposed to order our household. You know, the man, you're supposed to be in control, regardless if your woman accepts it or she don't. We're supposed to be telling her what thus saith the Lord, regardless if she accepts it or not. Right? We got to teach our children this. That is bigger than a damn cell phone or a video game. And I always use video games for children, because majority on this side, that's mostly what all young children even care about. Like the brothers were saying, a lot of these YNs, they don't give two shits about the video game. They worried about a blunt, some liquor, and some pussy. Being straightforward. You know? A lot of these young children, this new generation, they care about the damn video game or streaming. Well, most children is not raised to read and learn. Most children is not known what the hell is even going on in the world, let alone women worried about their appearance, being insecure, right? A woman could be so insecure, but still spending all her money on some damn wigs and lace fronts, right? The main important thing that we should be doing is going to Yahawashi. All your worries and cares, you put it on him. It was all your worries and suffering is actually on the cross with Yahawashi. Okay? Everything is dead. Your old life, when you come in this truth, that died with Yahawashi on the cross. Okay? So he was not calling the self-righteous, but those who knew that they were worn down. Right? Yahawashi is looking for the weak. Who need me? Right? The Lord loves that we need him. That's why Yahawashi said, come to me, ye of heavy burden. Only Yahawashi can take that heavy load. None of us can do it. Even when you go back to the law of Moses, it was too much for Moses to carry our burden. But the Lord brought in Yahawashi, who actually was able to carry all our burdens, man. Yahawashi. This is why this is why you should be coming to him. This is why the doctrine is important. The doctrine is key. Why did you turn on your lights on so late? I'm telling you. Right? You of heavy burden, heavy laden, the things that you deal with on this side, and the things that's gonna come on this side. Right? We should be going to the Lord. That's who we should be leaning to. Okay? Is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi. Like scriptures say, we misuse the prophets. A lot of us are misusing Yahawashi. You misusing your grace. Okay? You misusing that light. Misusing your salvation, who is Yahawashi. Right? So, let's go back to Matthew, because we gotta get these points. This is the book of Matthew, the 11th chapter. When we go into verse 29, we finish verse 28. So verse 29, it says, take my yoke, you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart. Ye shall find rest unto me. Right? Yahawashi said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Now, before we keep finishing this verse, you're supposed to be learning about Yahawashi. All angles, everything that pertain to him. What points to Yahawashi? How to be more obedient. How to be submissive to the Lord. It goes back to Yahawashi. Right? You should be learning about Yahawashi in this thing. Right? You ask people, yo, what book you reading? What book you reading? Oh man, I'm reading. A month go past. They still reading the same damn book. You ain't reading. You know? You got so many Jake in here. I'm trying to build a relationship with the Lord. So what book? Oh, I'm not even reading. My relationship with him is spiritual. It's spiritual when you're reading. This chain of darkness, Jake, even if you think you know it all, you still don't know it. This dang apple juice is amazing. So again, he said, learn of me. So any brother or sister and your days consist of learning, that's a good thing. Yahawashi is telling us to take his yoke upon us and learn of him. What's the yoke? To suffer. Yahawashi had to overcome the world. Guess what we got to do? Overcome the world. That's us taking his yoke. His yoke is light. Right? Following the Lord, being obedient. Ours is heavy, all this left, and right. Yahawashi's focus was to do the will of his Father. Okay? So, Israel was burdened by false leaders who led loads they couldn't carry themselves. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 23 in verse 4. For they build heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and they lay them on man's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. Right? They put these heavy heads on the sheep, and they're not going to help remove them with their fingers. Right? And that's a lot of false prophets on this side do the same thing, man. Okay? Like when brothers was at camp speaking about churches. You down low on bread, and they telling you to invest your money and trust that the Lord wants you to sow the seed, and you see the church and the pastor flourishing, and you still on luck. You still down. Okay? In the NLT, it says they crush people with unbearable religious demands and never lift a finger to ease the burden. And Yahawashi is telling the disciples this. It says Yahawashi was contrasting his doctrine with the oppressive yoke of the corruption of leadership. And that's another thing that, Jake, we deal with in our nation, right? That burden of leadership from false leaders. Just like, and I'm just using it as a reference to the Spirit, how the Lord allowed me to examine, the apostles, even from a distance, how they do videos. I don't have to necessarily communicate with them face to face, but seeing how they handle order in a congregation. The number one thing they focus on is the doctrine. They're not focused on a party for a feast. You never see them post, oh, we doing this feast. Look at brothers coming together, because it's bigger than that. Whenever they put that camera on, it's edification time. It's teaching time. Okay? Whenever they rebuking somebody, it's teaching time. I don't never see GMS do anything for entertainment, anything to amuse the people, right? It's always to feed the sheep, because when you are a leader, you are a servant of servants. You're not in here to be a leader and to scheme and get over people because you have some type of power because of a freaking title. Okay? So, let me slide back over to Matthew, the 11th chapter. Salaki, y'all. It's kind of traffic over here. We're at the point that what do we want? So when you go back to verse 28, Matthew 11 and 28, it says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." I will give you rest. That's the key point. I will give you rest, go into not laziness, but relief. Yahawashi is going to give us that spiritual release. And this is spiritual rest, not escape from obedience, spiritual rest. Yahawashi's ministry come with ease, even though if we was to really be technical, it's not ease, but it is with ease because Yahawashi is giving us the right doctrine. You even had the Pharisees, law, and then they're adding the traditions of men. Yahawashi is sticking to what was given to us, but then trying to tell you, he fulfilled the law by the sacrifice to let you know that even though we were committing sins and making them sacrifices, they didn't make us clean. They didn't make us perfect. But the sacrifice of Yahawashi, it make us perfect through faith. Through faith, it makes us perfect. And with that faith, that we have fear in Yahweh Shema Shai, we do things that's pleasing unto him. If Yahawashi say, "Come unto me and learn of me," you're going to learn things that he did. Of course, that he was obedient to the Lord. He stayed doing the ways of the Lord. And even if Jay say, "Oh, the law doesn't matter," and even if we're covered by Yahawashi's blood, Yahawashi knew that too. But he still was walking in the way that thou shalt do, and he stayed away from the things that thou shalt not do, or what thou shalt not eat. It's no account of Yahawashi eating pork. He naturally did the things that was pleasing unto the Lord. But literally, he came here, like in St. John 12, to fulfill the commands that his father gave him. He was supposed to come down here and do the will of him that sent him. Right? So you support law. Okay? And you're supposed to walk in faith, maintain your faith. Let me go to Jeremiah chapter 6 in verse 16. "Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they say, we will not walk therein." And it just said in the verse, you shall find rest. What's the old path? Right? Following the will of Yahawashi Yahawashi, following the word, which even the law is the word. Right? Follow the old path, the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? Do what Yahawashi Yahawashi requires you to do. Abraham, he showed it with fear. Yo, I need you to sacrifice my son. He did it not. Hey, yo, look, I need you to go to this land because I'm going to give it to you and your descendants. He got up, took Lot, his wife, and the things that he have as a possession. All right, come on, we got to go to this far journey. The Lord told me he going to give me this land. Right? You got to have obedience when it comes to Yahawashi Yahawashi. Just because Yahawashi came on the scene, it doesn't mean throw away the law. Okay? The law, of course, gives us the notion of identifying sin. And of course, things that you shouldn't do, we all end up doing it. Right? But Yahawashi Yahawashi have given you the blueprint. If you have discipline of your spirit, you can overcome the things that your flesh want to do. Romans the 7th chapter. Paul said, I do what I don't, what I don't. Because you're battling the flesh, you're gonna go off. But if we abide in Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? Which, we got a heavy load on us. Let's go to the New Testament and let's go to Hebrews the 4th chapter. This is Hebrews chapter 4, verse 9. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of the Most High. For he that is entered into his rest, he also have eased from his own works, as the Most High did from his. Right? When we get this rest, right, we're going to get rest from our own works. And of course, this is going to lead to that physical rest when Yahawashi delivers us. But we have that spiritual work, which is us teaching, which soon, leading into the new covenant, Jeremiah 31, we're not going to have to teach our brothers no more. Okay? So the rest is relief from condemnation, confusion, is spiritual slavery. Having that heavy weight of this and this and that. You got some Jake that might be pushing that you have to live perfect. You're trying to, but mainly the main point of living perfect, you got to have the perfect doctrine, the 100% truth. So if you're walking in 100% truth, you're really fulfilling what the Lord required you to do. Okay? So now, let's go back to Matthew, the 11th chapter. Verse 29 again. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. So take my yoke upon you, right? Still, a yoke means service, discipline, and submission. It says in 1 John 2 and 6, if you abide in him, you must walk as he walked. So now, starting with the men, now that yoke you taken is the service. Romans the 9th chapter, verse 4, in the service of the Most High was the office of the priest. Now all the 12 tribes are priests under Yahawashi. Yahawashi is not saying there is no responsibility. He is saying his yoke is righteous and life-giving, not oppressive. So now, let me slide to the Old Testament. Let me get Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter, in verse 12 and 13. And now, Israel, what doeth Yahweh thy power require of thee? This is you looking at the old path. But to fear Yahweh thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, which is an action, a deed in truth, and to serve Yahweh thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. The commandments is a command that what you should do and what you shouldn't do, right? So truly serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi with love and obedience. And that love that you're going to have is going to bring action and truth. Okay? So now let's get this 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not grievous. And this is even in the New, you understand it's even in the Old Testament, right? The Lord's commandments are not a burdensome. It's not. It's just you're in a chain of darkness. But us putting on the yoke of Yahawashi is you doing the things that's pleasing unto the Lord. Because if you say you love the Lord, you're going to show him in action. You're going to show him in truth. This is you taking the yoke of Yahawashi. Did not Yahawashi, if he loved the Heavenly Father, did he not do what he told him to do? Yes. Let's go to St. John chapter 12 and verse 47. It says, and if any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that rejecteth me receiveth not my words. Have one that judgeth him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken for myself, but the Father which sent me. He gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. In the NLT, it says, the Father who sent me has commanded me what to say and how to say. So Yahawashi is just following commands. So when you do the commandments, you're following the commands of Yahweh. That's what we were sent here to do, to follow the commands of the Lord. Okay? So even with the Matthew 11 in verse 29, where he said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, basically follow his example. Yahawashi is the perfect model of what? Meek and lowly. Meek as being power under control, lowly being humble and not proud. Yahawashi was meek, power under control, lowly, which is humble, not proud. These are the example. When you learn of Yahawashi, you learn how to be meek and lowly. Let's get the book of Philippians chapter 2 and verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Hamashiach Yahawashi, who being in the form of the Most High, thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. Right? Yahawashi humbled himself. This is what we should be doing right now, humbling ourselves. Now that you came in this truth, humble yourself, because you couldn't get in here without me. St. John 13 and 15. For I have given you an example, that ye should do as I have done. Yahawashi is the example. He is the example he left for us, and we got it in the word. Yahawashi is the word. Rest comes from walking like him, not fighting against righteousness. Okay? The real rest is us walking like Yahawashi, being that shadow imitation of Yahawashi. Literally being the same reflection as Yahawashi. Like when you looking at the mirror, when you looking at when you like some of us brothers, sometimes we can look at each other and see the reflection of ourselves in one another. But can you see the reflection of Hamashiach Yahawashi? Can you see the reflection of Yahawashi in you? Right? That's the whole point. Can you see Yahawashi in you? Some of us can't see the reflection of Yahawashi in ourselves. So again, rest comes from walking like him, not fighting against righteousness. Rest come when we walk like Yahawashi. That's why when brothers come in his truth, you breathe different, you think different, you move different, right? Your alignment is different. Now, what I'm saying, it might go over a lot of y'all heads, But for real, brothers breathe different. They take care of their health different. They live different. Family is different. Coming in this truth, even dealing with certain things, right? We handle things different on this side. Your wife get out of order, we handle things different than how we was in the world. Shit, I'm handling money different than I was in the world. A lot of things we do on this side is really because we came in this truth. We're learning of Yahawashi. Okay? Matthew chapter 11, verse 30. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. And really, when you compare it to the world, Yahawashi's burden is light. His yoke is easy by comparison. What? Sin is heavier. The world enslaves, and false doctrine confuses. Wicked rulership crushes. Right? So this is the burden of the world. But the burden of Yahawashi is way lighter. So let's get Romans chapter 6 in verse 22. It says, but now being made free from sin and become servants to the Most High, ye have your fruit into holiness and the end everlasting life. Okay? So we're servants to righteousness, which brings in life. Right? If you are servant to righteousness, you truly a servant of Yahawashi, because if righteousness brings life, we know in St. John 14:6, Yahawashi is the way, the truth, and the life. This whole thing is about Yahawashi. This whole thing, you really in this truth, is Yahawashi. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 12, Yahawashi seen that you were faithful, and he enabled you in this truth. He turned you on to the truth. This was not because of you. Not because of, oh man, this is going to be a great speaker. No, you were called on this thing. You were divine selected. Okay? Let's go to Proverbs, the 13th chapter. In verse 15. Good understanding giveth favor, but the way of transgressors is hard. In the NLT, a person with good sense is respected. A treacherous person is headed for destruction, which is really the 2/3, right? Really those that are consumed and cleave to the things of this world, right? That's why the so many Jake is going to take that charagma, because a lot of Jake move with a forward thought. Okay? So understand this. Stop being crushed by sin, lies, fear, and corruption through leadership. Understand Yahawashi's rulership and learn his ways and walk in righteousness, and your soul will finally have rest. But if we're not walking in righteousness, if we're not walking in the will of Yahawashi, we're not going to have spiritual rest or even taste of physical rest. Okay? This is a kingdom call, not a comfort, not a comfort slogan. Okay, this is a kingdom call. What is the kingdom call? Going back to Matthew, the 11th chapter. This is the kingdom call. You know, when Yahawashi said the kingdom is within us. This is it right here. Matthew 28. I'm gonna even Matthew 11 verse 28. I'm gonna read the NLT. Then Yahawashi said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest, spiritual rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you." How is he teaching you? Yahawashi is going to teach us through his prophets. Romans the 10th chapter. How can they learn of him unless someone teach them? The Lord is going to send prophets of his own heart, which we see from the prophets, which we see about David. The prophets that are set up right now, they are of Yahweh's heart. It says, because I am humble and gentle at heart, you will find rest for your souls, right? This is that spiritual rest. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light. It's really wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and is law, right? Those that fully come in His truth, you're following a command, you're following a law. To truly be with the Lord, you have to really depend on Yahawashi for help. He said, come to me, ye of heavy laden, heavy burden. If you got a heavy burden, you got to go to Yahawashi, because His burden is light. It comes with the truth. It comes with the territory. When you in His truth, you're going to have a lighter affliction, because this is affliction for righteousness' sake. Right? Let me get that in Acts 14. This is part of that yoke. This is part of that burden. This is Acts chapter 14. And I'm going to just go to the point, verse 22. Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So you're going to go through tribulation. But now that you came to Yahawashi and learned Yahawashi, in order for Yahawashi to get His glory, what did He have to do? He had to suffer. He had to die. He had to get persecuted. He had to get spit on. And He actually went through it. So when you take this burden to Yahawashi, now you must overcome the earth. Okay? You must be lowly. Yahawashi knew that He was who He was, but He still came lowly. He wanted to be set up as no king. I shouldn't be on this side trying to get my boot kissed and then turn back around and I go back to work. It's not the time for that. This is about exalting Yahawashi. This is about manifesting Yahawashi. This shit is not about us yet. We get all our glory when Yahawashi return. Right? It's all about coming to Yahawashi, because Yahawashi is going to be the one that get us to the Father. He's our ticket. He's our ticket. St. John 6:44, the classic. No man can come to me except the Father which have sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. If you draw to Yahawashi, it's over. That's the mission. That's the goal. That's the prize. That's the finish line. Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Yahawashi. Where you going? To Yahawashi. What you thinking about? Yahawashi. What's wrong? Yahawashi. Man, I need more money. No, I need more of Yahawashi. It's always about Yahawashi. Come to me of heavy burden, heavy laden. Learn of me. Are you learning of Yahawashi? Any attribute, how He moved? You as a brother, you got a gift for opening your damn mouth. Go seek the Lord. Maybe your real talent is teaching His word. Learn of Him. Learn the good, learn the bad, then learn it all over again. Okay? Lord willing, that was edifying. It was edifying for me. Learn of Yahawashi. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power that always makes this possible. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And this is the understanding of Matthew, the 11th chapter, verse 28 to 30, man. Yahawashi is giving us an invitation because He said, come unto me. So that He said, come unto Him, right? You should be leaving all this man-made religions, all your goals and your accomplishments, because all of that stop. You're not thinking about chasing 6 figures or trying to be the best superstar in this world, because none of those things is going to get you the kingdom, right? Yahawashi is the example. You should learn of Him. Yahawashi didn't try to sit and be rich. He didn't sit in a top authority seat. The man even came into town on a donkey. When you ride on a horse, that means you ruling. But He came on a donkey in a humble example. So for us, I shouldn't be trying to pursue to be the top guy when Yahawashi didn't even be a chance to be the top guy on earth. Come to Yahawashi, learn of Him. Okay? So with that, I'm going to say double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit, and the mighty shalom to the hopeful elect. Scatter four corners of earth, teaching his word and believing his word. Lord, willing as a whole that you all continue in sound doctrine. Shalom to the Agwab, the sisters of his faith and his truth. Lord, willing that you continue to pursue your lot. And Lord, willing through the power and spirit of Yahawashi, this was an edifying lesson. With that, shalom, shalom, abba, abba.